Hi, this is Kate, and we're working with fractions and equations. Are you tired of being bullied by fractions? Are you possibly a fraction vampire? These are people who happily go along, working on their math, until they come across a fraction, and their reaction is like a vampire in the sun. They've been known to have nightmares about fractions, and they just know their lives would be better if fractions were eradicated. Well, I have good news for you. You can achieve dominance over fractions and live in fear no longer. Fractions have a fatal weakness that anyone can learn how to exploit. This eliminates all fractions from your life fast. What is 2/3 of 3? 2/3 of 3 is, of course, 2. 3 is the same as 3 over 1. You may remember that the 3/3 is just a fancy 1, and anything times 1 is itself, so it won't affect the product. Or, you can remember that to multiply fractions, we just multiply across. In the numerator, 2 times 3 is 6, so the product is 6 over 3, which is the same as 2. So if 2/3 of 3 is 2, use your favorite technique to figure out what is 5/7 of 7. The product is 5, not a fraction. So for any fraction made of a numerator n and a denominator d, what do we get if we multiply it by its denominator? That's right, just the numerator. If we multiply any fraction by its denominator, we neutralize it. But that's not all. What if we multiply 2/3 by, say, 12? What is 2/3 of 12? The product is 8. We can either reduce the 12/3, since it's equivalent to 4, and 2 times 4 is 8. Or we can multiply across. 2 times 12 is 24, so this product is 24/3. 24 divided by 3 is 8. So what is 5/7 of 14? Hopefully you answered 10, since 14/7 is the same as 2, and 5 times 2 is 10. So if we multiply any fraction by any multiple of its denominator, we neutralize it. Now let's see how this weakness helps us solve equations with fractions in them. Recall that we keep an equation in balance as long as we do the same thing to both sides. The fraction in this equation is 3/5. What do you think I should multiply by to neutralize the fraction? Since the denominator is 5, we'll multiply both sides by 5. That lets us write a much simpler equation. 3x equals 45. Then we'll just divide both sides by 3, and we can see that the solution is 15. 3/5 of 15 is 9. Try this technique on your own. It will be helpful to grab a paper and pencil. Multiply both sides by the denominator and solve the equation. What value of x makes it true? The solution is 7. You should have multiplied both sides of the equation by the denominator 4, allowing you to write a simpler equation, 5x equals 35. Then divide both sides by 5 to see that the solution is 7. But what about an equation that has fractions with different denominators? Remember, fractions get neutralized if you multiply them by any multiple of their denominator. What do you think we can multiply both sides of this equation by to neutralize the fractions? What is a multiple of both 5 and 10? we can multiply both sides by 10. This will allow us to simplify both the right side and the left side, since 10 divided by 5 is the same as 2. Now we can write a simpler equation. On the left there we have 2 times 2x, so 4x, and on the right we just have 3. Now if we divide both sides by 4, we can see that the solution is 3/4. On to the scariest one yet. The denominators are 5, 10, and 4. What should we multiply both sides by? What do 5, 10, and 4 all divide evenly into? We should multiply both sides of the equation by 20. On the right side, notice we're multiplying the 20 by 2 terms in parentheses, 1/10 and also 1/4 of x. So we're going to want to distribute that 20. Once we cancel and simplify the fractions appropriately, what will the next line be? Choice A represents the next line because 20 divided by 5 is 4, 20 divided by 10 is 2, and 20 divided by 4 is 5, leaving us with 4x on the left and 2 plus 5x on the right. Finally, let's solve the simplified equation. What value of x makes the equation true? The solution is -2. To simplify this, we can subtract 5x from both sides, leaving us with -1x on the left and 2 on the right. Then dividing both sides by -1 yields x equals -2. You've been dealing with fractions and equations.